wants us to realize here that someone living in their fleshly desires for mere pleasure, because it's easy, and because they just want to live in the world and be like the world, that they're already dead. They are already dead. If you're not sacrificing and living your life for Jesus, and you're just living like the rest of the world, having a good old time, and you've blown all your funds and you can't afford gas or food, then you come to the church for assistance after that. Paul's like, you can tell them, man, I'm sorry, we can't use the church resources for that. And so Paul says it's okay to tell them no, whether you're a young widow or anybody else, whoever it is that comes for help. And they may be indulging in drugs, they may be indulging in alcohol, and they find themselves in need, and suddenly they want the church to help their plans, to help them get through a certain time, and then they go back and buy more drugs and alcohol. I've given to people who I thought were involved in that. It's not for me to decide, really. But I've given to people who have been in a hard place and have been troubled, and we don't know what they're going to do with it. That's between them and God. You know, I don't know what they're going to do with it, and I don't have anything to say that they're really going to go buy drugs and alcohol, because I don't know. I have no control over their life, but I've still given to people who have done that. But as a church, as you guys come in and support the church, it's not right for me to say I can use that money for that if they're not living a godly lifestyle, because the Bible specifically tells me that they should be, if we're going to help them. Now, if somebody is doing all the right things, and they are striving to be like Jesus every day, and they are serving in the church, by all means, we're going to help them. And so that's what the Bible tells us. The resources of the church are to fit these certain qualities. And Paul says in verse 8 that God's normal way of providing for those in need is not really through the congregation of the church, but through our own hard work. In other words, we need to be doing ourselves and be able to provide for our own, if physically possible. If they have family, if they have nieces, if they have nephews, if they have brothers, they have sisters, they need to be helping care for those people. If not, Paul says we have denied the faith and are worse than an unbeliever if we don't help our own. So we have a responsibility to provide for our families, to do all that we can to support them. And in the eyes of Jesus, you are your family's Social Security. It's not a government thing. You are your family's Social Security. So not something that comes from the government, so it's part of an obedience to faith. We should want to take care of our parents, especially if they're widows, because most of them have no way to provide for themselves.